you're well aware that we do call back when people do have questions, and we call, and they end up on the board agenda. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can we just get your name so
We
we
need
can
your
log it on the sheet?
George Banham. I have a question. Can we do something creative with, you said there's a service that for the high school that can pick up the children, drop-off services?
No.
No? Drop-off. Because I parked at Divine Savior, and it actually was a lot faster for me to walk to Giles than driving there during the drop-off. I mean, during the pickup time, especially with the high school. Is anything we can do to have like after-school program that parents willing to pay for it to keep the kids there another half an hour, 45 minutes, so we can? Because I'm in a big trouble here. I'm gonna have a kid in high school. I'm gonna have a kid in middle school. I'm gonna have a kid here. I can't do it. I have to quit my job and just pick up kids and drop off kids, and it's impossible. I can't do it. I'm willing to help, but we need to be more creative. We need to maybe have an after-school program here that the parents willing to pay for it, so the kids will stay here another half an hour while I get the other two kids. My older son, I have to pick him up. There's no ifs or buts about it. So can we be creative, please? Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, there's a way to. I mean, it sounds weird, but I think at the airport you park. There's parking. You could like temporary parking before you can go into the terminal. I mean, it'd be interesting, maybe to be able to park at Divine Savior and walk your kids instead of having to wait in a line.
Actually, I
Good idea.
exactly 11 minutes.
Oh, good idea.
Walking back and forth.
But you have to make sure you're crossing where the crossing guard is too, because you don't want kids just crossing across that busy street over there. Montrose is extremely busy.
So I think this is, I mean, the parking thing, the traffic pattern is going to be an enormous issue, and I think that's going to be something that needs to start being discussed now, no matter what happens with.
I think scenarios need to be created.
Well, I agree, but it seems that scenarios are already being discussed. So
Logical is and what logical is, and then eliminate one or the other.
Well, the traffic pattern and everything right now, that's the way it is with the high school, the way it gets out and the way we get out and everything like that. Like you said, you're spending 15 minutes and 20 minutes if you don't make the correct turn. Or if you don't go 2 blocks down and then cross at Oquito. If you can't figure that out.
And not to mention the bad weather days. And snow, this year we've lost. Next year, who knows what's going to happen.
it doesn't take into account any of the kids that we service that have special needs, whether it be here at the high school that need the parent to drop them off in front of the door and literally watch them walk through the gate to make sure that they are going where they're supposed to go and being out front in the exact same spot that they're supposed to be. Because
Patty, man, you had a
Yeah, I just wanted to say, back in 2010 or 11, whatever it was when they proposed grade centers, I have to say, I was a skeptic back then, but, we needed to see facts and figures and numbers. And the only things we got back then was it was going to be an increased cost. I want to say that I think you guys have done a pretty good job at showing the facts and figures, and it's quite obvious that you have a decision to make. Do you want to cut all sorts of programs next year? And it is fast. Do you want to cut all sorts of programs, everything for the kids, and save a whopping $500,000? Or do you want to try to maintain those programs by going to grade centers and you still save more money, $700,000? Bottom line is, it's not something everyone wants to do, but you have to look at what you're going to save for the kids and what's going to be the best for the kids. And I want to say thanks for looking into the figures, and you've answered my questions. That's what I didn't get last time. You've answered my questions. We know what the additional costs are. We know what the savings are. So, it's a tough decision, easy for all of us to comment on it. I want to say thank you for each one of you for your volunteer time. It's not appreciated by all, and you do it. You're here again away from your families. So thanks.
Any other comments, questions from the Great, thank you. I'm sorry.
Sir, state your name, please.
Yeah, Renzo Verardi. I'm going to probably say things that might sound repetitive, but the big thing here is the referendum needs to pass. I mean, it's obvious. I'm sorry to say that, but I feel that it should be more, but I respect others who disagree and or can't afford an increase. But at the same time, I hope they respect my beliefs and understand this is a reasonable referendum. I agree with grade centers because I think this is the future of our kids' education, which way you look at it. I feel, listen to Dr. O'Malley talk about the opportunities and the possibilities of working with the high school. I think it is a good idea. The surrounding communities are doing it. I think we're just a bit behind. Lastly, what I'm going to say, it's hard for me to say this because I have the utmost respect for them, but because they do a great job and we should pay them as much as they get paid today and continue to pay them what we can afford, but how the renegotiating the contract or considering a short-term pay freeze is not considered. I know you guys ran through the numbers, but you said it's 2% a lot. You missed one big aspect of that question is 2% when you're in the red is a lot, okay? So 0.001% in the red is still a lot. When you're paying out more than you're getting in, it's considered a lot. It's a short-term thing. I think it will benefit the teachers in the long run. It keeps the kids' programs. It allows us to get our feet back on the ground, rebuild our reserve, and make the right decisions with our kids' safety with the buildings, okay? I think that's a big thing that we need to consider. I know it's a tough decision, but at the same time, the kids are being punished for, I'm sorry to say, a poor decision on the board to agree to this term, okay? You guys do a great job. It's, you know, you can easily say, well, you come up and do it, and I respect the fact that you guys do it, but at the same time, you have to consider this, and the teachers union has to rethink this because, like I said, in the long term, it's going to benefit them because programs are going to be kept, and whoever's sitting on the board gives them another opportunity to make it right. So that's all I get to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just want to say one thing, okay? And Tim, I want to talk to you because you're totally against the referendum thing and the passing. And my thing with you is, if you knew about the grade schools now that 5-6 years ago when it was going to happen, and right now you're telling everybody to not go for it, that it's bad and everything, then why 5 years ago didn't you try to do something to bring in money or try and create revenue or something to help with the schools instead of just sit here and bash them all about it? That's what I want to ask you.
Oh, can I respond?
Yeah, sure, as long as they're fine with that.
One is that grade schools, we can even review the standards are available. My stance on the grade schools is they could be fantastic for our community as long as they are planned out and done well. I'm concerned that not all aspects are being covered, that this is a slap together plan that may last for 1 year or 2 years, and that's still leaving our school district broke because they have not been successful to pass a referendum yet.
I agree with you there.
And we are very tough in that situation. Even getting this 1 1/4 passed is going to be very rough. So as I said in previous meetings with the same statement, I do believe in them if they're done the right way. We have to plan on what if they don't pass. Okay? So what do we do 2 years from now? How many years of junior high kids do we leave behind by not adjusting? How many years do we have the programs gone without adjusting? That's why I mentioned him bringing in outsourced sources of funding and looking into that.
Okay. And I was asking you why you didn't try to create anything to do it when you knew about it 5 years ago, too.
Same way as I
You could have
grew up.
started a committee, right?
Same way.
You have going now.
I'm trying to answer.
Against it.
Gentlemen, just you guys, we appreciate it. And it really means a lot to us. But last week, just take this offline, if possible. But thank you. We do appreciate it. Any other questions?
I just want to make one quick comment. Just to be clear, this board does not want to entertain grade centers. We're in a position where it's about fiscal responsibility. This is a fiscal decision. This is why it's being discussed. It's about the fiscal conditions of the district. So let's be very clear. We believe in our schools. We believe in the Tigers being the Tigers, and we believe in the Lions being the Lions. And we understand that. We know it's multi-generational, right? We know who's at this table, whose pictures are on the wall. Right? And I've already looked, so I know who's on the wall. So we know that. So let's be very clear. We don't want to go down that path. we have very little money. And we are in a very difficult position. So that's why I'm being clear, because it can be contentious. We want to keep these programs, but it's about our fiscal conditions. And we're measuring that, we're weighing it against what is best for kids. Is art classes, is art good for kids? Yes. Is music good for kids? Yes. Is band good for kids? Yes. Are athletics good for kids? Yes. And so that's the difficult predicament here. Both these scenarios have merits. Both of them have faults. And so we're weighing the two against one another, and it's not easy. It's not easy, because I tell people when you're running for the board, you're going to be known for one of three things. You've raised taxes, you've cut my signature programs, or you've put us in grade centers. That's one of the three things you're going to be known for. And I just want to make sure that was very clear, because I know that I don't think that's the right question to be asking. That we want to go down this. It's a fiscal decision. We're in a fiscal, we have fiscal constraints that we have to measure versus what is best for kids. And that's really what's at the table right here. And that's the decision on the 21st.
Thank you. I'd like to motion to adjourn at 8:54.
I'll make the motion.
Sorry.
Can you state your name?
I'm sorry, just state your name, please.
Jennifer Adams. Just for clarification, with the referendum coming, how does the referendum passing or not passing affect your option 4 and option 5? Are they related?
So one of the predicaments that we have is we set aside. We had two committees. We had a superintendent's task force that was working on the building issue. What do we need to do with respect to our buildings? Then we had the curricular side. We had the board form a ad hoc deficit reduction planning committee. So one of them was academics. One of them was building based. So the building based group felt that it was important that we have a victory. We need a win. We need something palatable for the community, so that when they go to the poll, they can vote how they feel is best for the school. How they feel is best for the school. And so they recommended that this board look at the lowest amount, that it be less than $500 on a $250,000 home, and that it's got to be more than one option. You can't have just one question like we did before. And so what the board did is the board took the lowest amount and they went with one question because they wanted a win, which is $1.25 million. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, because it was so low, we are required to cut $750,000 out of the budget. We have to cut $750,000. We have no choice. That's why we have this list, because we have to meet that benchmark. We have filled out a deficit reduction plan with the state. It's a requirement based on our reserves, and we have to follow through. We're in the second year of a 3-year plan. In the first year, we said we're not going to cut anything. We're going to keep all of our programs. We're going to keep all of our staff, and we're going to investigate a direction that's best for the district. In the second year, that's what we're at right now. So we're in a situation where we have to make this cut, and the cut is $750,000. So to answer your question, that's one of the things, or to get to your question on whether or not we have to go, that's one of the things the board is grappling with. So that's going to be on the agenda for February 21st. The board's going to decide if it passes, they're going to go to grade centers. If it passes, they're not going to go to grade centers until 18-19. Or whether it passes or not, they're going to go to grade centers. So really those are the two things that they have to decide on Tuesday night.
Because correct me if I'm wrong. And if I can just add one thing to that, I attended several of the ad hoc deficit reduction meetings, and